Guys, welcome back. Today's going to be a foundation video, so we're going to do a foundation Friday. I'm hoping in 2020, it sounds weird. I've never been able to say 2010 or 2000 whatever, you know, like 2019. That's always sounded really strange to me. But as soon as you go into 2020, it sounds weird to not say 2020. So it's going to be an adjustment when I have to say the year next year. When we get into 2020, I'd like to do this, if not weekly, every other week. I think it's a fun thing. I try a lot of different foundations. And just for me, it's a nice record of what I liked, why I liked it. You know, I think it's a useful thing. So today we've got the Lumene Instant Glow Fresh Skin Tint. I've mentioned this a couple of times. It was sent to me. It's come up in conversation a few times in vlogs, and I've kind of on IGTV and stuff. Anyway, I have never actually done a full review of it, so we're going to do that today. It's worth noting that my skin is having a moment. I don't know what it is. I think it was because I used a makeup eraser, and I just don't think that it agreed with me at all. I had a lot of redness, and then I had some peeling. I've had a few days without makeup now, and it seems to kind of be gone now. All around here, it was kind of just like flaking away, really thin. As if maybe I burnt the surface of my skin. It was crazy. But also because I've been using a lot of hydrating products, I'm now breaking out all over the shop. So we'll see. But I felt like this was the kind of product that would work really, really well for my skin right now. Because I believe the Lumene brand is more skincare than colour cosmetics. And the first time I tried this, it's super refreshing. The first time I tried this, I was like, oh, this is a really unusual product. It's a really nice, it's cooling. It's really, it's indescribable because I think you really have to try it to understand the freshness. So is it called Fresh Skin Tint? It is called Fresh Skin Tint, and it totally makes sense. The freshness that you feel is just crazy. I've got that Becca water powder thing. This is not really blending. I'm going to use a different brush. Can't find my big one. Yeah, I've got that Becca water powder thing. And it's a similar sensation of like, this should not be cool on my skin, but it is. So I like that it's a very, very natural coverage. It's a small amount of product in terms of like, it doesn't look like makeup. It feels like skincare. All of that side of my face is like, refreshed. It's like I've splashed water on my face. It feels like I've just put a really nice serum or a moisturizer on. Doesn't feel like makeup at all. But you can tell that I've got something on. But I think even looking in the mirror, it's not massively apparent. I do still have a little bit of kind of dryness up here. It's not too bad. But even when I tried to use this, when I had the flaking, it still was picking up. So it really was quite bad. So I'm going to use the sponge on the other side to see whether or not that makes a difference to the finish at all. I've also got quite a lot of redness around my nose, and it's covered that pretty well. Given that you can completely see your skin through it, it's very, very natural. I'm impressed with how it evens out my skin without covering it up. That's pretty much exactly what I want from a foundation product. Bear in mind, this is an expensive foundation product, but we will build that into the review at the end. As always, the lighter side is with the sponge, so it's given me a lighter coverage, but overall the finish and everything is lighter. So where this has kind of slightly fallen into some like dryness still that I have left over on my pores, that's not happened at all here. But this side also looks a little bit more satin. This one looks a little bit more like a shinier, dewier finish. So it's just going to depend on your preference. I'm going to put on a very small amount of concealer. I don't really want to impact the foundation at all, but I do have other videos I'd like to film today. A little on these. I'm gonna leave it there. Just a kind of a little bit around the areas where I have a little bit more redness. I was just sent a bunch of new Bobbi Brown stuff from their Christmas collection. How amazing is that? I think you will have already seen the video where I talk about glitters. Look at that. So many glitters, but the packaging. Bobbi Brown Christmas packaging is always amazing. But I'm testing this out for the first time now, in the past, because I filmed this a couple of weeks ago. So the thing I'm most excited about, because there's a couple of things that I want to test out to see whether or not it's something I want to recommend, but this is very, very similar to the Stardust eyeshadows from Urban Decay. It's super pretty anyway, just a nice little packaging, but also Do you not think that's really, really similar for those of you who know what I'm talking about? It's got that not a lot of colour, but just a lot of glitter. Hopefully that's, I think I'm like too close to the light for it to pick up. It's so, so pretty. So I'm planning on putting that all over my eyes, and then I'm going to try and smudge out something like around the outside. I'm using this, I think it's called Mayron? I don't know, mixing liquid. Someone on Instagram told me this was the thing to use with glitter, and so I have been testing the many products with this, and I think she's 100% correct. Anything that works without this works better with it. Oh, so pretty. Honestly, it's a very fine glitter. I'm kind of underwhelmed now I have it on my eye. I think this would be nice as like a topper over something else. But I kind of expected, especially with the mixing liquid, that it would be more like pow. And it is very subtle. Then I've got this, which is not shimmery at all. This is the Longwear Cream Shadow Stick in Bark. So it's basically just like a focus, a cream shadow. Not the easiest to blend. And then I've got this Longwear Sparkle Stick in Rose Quartz. This is exciting. I tried this the other day and it swatches beautifully. This is much creamier. The sticks actually come in a set with mascara. I don't love this mascara, to be honest. This is the Smoky Eye Mascara, but it comes with a mini and those 3 sticks. So given that it comes in a set, I'm going to use the third one. This is the, again, the Shadow Stick, and this is in Nude Beach. I'm going to use this underneath my eyes. I'm not sure that that is quite the right tone for me. I'm going to just go back over it with the glitter. We're making it work, and I'm going to use the Smoky Eye Mascara because why not? Sometimes miniatures of mascaras can be better or worse than the full size, so it'll be interesting to see whether or not this performs any better than my previous experience with the full size one. I think it's just too wet. Maybe it's just, I've never really given it an opportunity to dry out, but it just doesn't do it for me. I know what you're thinking. You came for a foundation review. Why are we talking about eye products? But I'm testing a million things right now, and it's one of those things. I'm using the e.l.f. under eye setting powder. FYI, I'm going to use it everywhere. It's one of those things that I know if I'd come back in full makeup, you would have asked questions. So here we are. So I'm only setting really the center of my face and just kind of here near my eyes and this area where I get particularly visible pores, because I find that this powder, a lot of the powders that I choose to use are very, very fine. They give that kind of soft focus effect. And none of these areas usually are ones that I'm particularly concerned about, like fine lines or dryness or anything where things can kind of settle. So that's where I choose to put any kind of powder products. Usually I would do a setting spray, but because we're testing the foundation, I don't want to do that. And we'll do a little bit of something on my cheeks. Since this is in my current stash, I did a shot my stash video and a get ready with me with the stuff that I picked out. By the way, if you are interested, this was like the summer blush thing from Benefit, which again was sent to me, but I didn't use it until very recently. I'm going to use Dallas, which is a bit bold, perhaps, but I feel like why do I think Dallas was like a shimmery, blushy type thing? Is it a bronzer, Dallas? I think I may even have a full size of it. I always kind of thought of it as being more of a blusher than a bronzer. Is it like a double thing? I don't know. I definitely thought Dallas had shimmer in it, but maybe just like once you actually start using it, it looks matte at first. Also, I have a bruise here. Even just doing this, it hurts. The other day, I moved some stuff around and you can't see it from here, but I've got pictures on the wall and it kind of like fell because they're on a ledge, and it fell and I caught it with my face. I was like, holy moly, that really hurt. And it's not apparent, thankfully. It's not an obvious bruise on my face, but it really hurts. I really like this. I feel like I should use this more often. Have I got a full size? Sure, I used to have. Right now, I think the thing I'm confusing it with is Gold Rush, which looks like this, which is more of a blush and more of a shimmer. Right, and I'm going to use the Dim Light from Hourglass, all-time favourite. and I'm going to use it here. If I was to buy a full size, I've got like the 3 palette, the original one. And I've had this forever. I bought this from Sephora, but you can get this in the UK. I think Space NK maybe. I'll try to remember to link it below. But if I was to buy a full-size Hourglass palette, it would be this one. In a heartbeat. And I don't mean palette, I mean individual highlighter. So we're going to do something on the lips. This is lovely. It's from Poundland. It's called Butter Me Up. And the colour is Cappuccino 1. It's just a really nice, nothing colour. A little bit of gloss. It fades away evenly. It's a nice one to kind of just have in your bag. And I do believe it was £1. Right, I'm going to bring you in and we're going to look at texture. Hopefully the lights, I can't dim the lights any further than this, but hopefully you can see. I don't think that my pores are crazy visible given that we've done all the makeup on top. I don't think they're too terrible, not for me anyway, what I want. Everything looked pretty natural and I've been able to build on top of that. Again, I think, you know, had I not been testing out the foundation, I would have covered some of these other breakouts, but I really want to be able to see, like when it wears at the end of the day. I don't want it to affect our view of it if the concealer has worn in a different way. But I'm interested to see because it is such a light coverage. And historically, when I've worn this, I found myself very, very oily throughout the day. So we'll see. We shall see. I actually asked the other day on Twitter what words and phrases people associated with me, and we shall see was one of them. And now it's been brought to my attention that, in theory, there were a few that I was just like, that tracks. I am considering. It's one of those things. I think it's ridiculous, but I'm considering doing some merch in the new year purely because I want to buy it. I don't think that it's going to be particularly lucrative if I was to do it. We'll see. We shall see. But would you be maybe interested in that? Anyway, I am going to take my hair out now, take some pictures. This is the hair. This is the hair that I slept with, obviously. People ask me all the time, like how I'll do certain things with my hair. And last night I let it dry completely. It was like totally tangle free. I really brushed it all out. And then I wear it on it. I don't do this super often anymore because I think it was giving me breakage. But when I don't want to straighten it, so I'll like try to alternate. And when I shake it out, I suppose is the next part of the story. It does this. Big curls. I don't think this is like a finished product, but I find that when I do this occasionally, like a couple of days later, I'll be able to like put a bit of oil in it and zhuzh it up, and it lasts me like in a wild, slightly done fashion for a few days. We're going to come back in a little while. Okay, it's been 8 hours. It might have been, looking at a watch that isn't there, it might have actually been more like 9 hours. I think that tracks. I've been waiting for Milo to get in the bath so that I can have a little bit of quiet time down here to finish up, and he's just got in. So here we are. I am actually really impressed with this. Given that we didn't do a tremendous amount of power, I didn't do a setting spray, I think that this is definitely targeted to more people with dry skin than how my skin is usually, which is particularly oily. When I wore this, my skin was normal, oily as usual, a little bit earlier on in the year, it wasn't quite so cold and wintry. I found my skin to be kind of just full-on oil slick a couple of hours in. I don't know if it's because of the time of year. I don't know if it's because of the like dehydration and strange things that have been happening to my skin recently, but this is worn pretty well. I would say that in terms of coverage, it's worn nicely. I don't feel like I've got any area where it's suddenly disappeared. My oil is not insane. However, if you have got particularly oily skin, I just don't think this is going to be for you. It's a really nice skincare product. If you don't care about oil, then maybe. But if you are going to try and keep that under control, you want your makeup to look as good as possible for as long as possible. I don't think it's going to be for you if you're oily. If you're dry, I think this is going to be amazing. This is a very, very hydrating product. Like I said at the beginning of the day, it feels amazing when you first put it on. It's very fresh. The whole thing is just like, oh. And especially at this time of year when in the morning everything is a bit tired and I don't know about you, but when I wake up in the morning, I put my makeup on, I'm just like, ooh, everything just looks puffy and dry and not great. Whereas when you put this on immediately, everything feels perkier. It feels like you've refreshed your entire face. I'm going to bring you in closer just so you can see for yourselves, so we can talk about texture again. I mean, like, again, I'm not oil free, but I don't think it's particularly bad. I don't think I've like lost a lot of, it didn't give a tremendous amount of coverage to begin with, so, you know, there is that. But I don't think I've lost like areas of coverage. I don't think that there's anywhere on my face where you'd be like, oh man, it's like collected really terribly or it's worn away. Sometimes I'll be talking like this and then in editing, I'll see something different. So maybe I will feel differently. Maybe you'll comment and say you can see something that I can't see in the viewfinder right now or in the mirror. But ultimately, most of us are not putting our faces under a magnifying glass. And if I'm looking in the mirror and I'm happy with it, that's kind of as good as I want it to be. Also, the eyeshadow, as I said, on my schedule, you should have already seen that glitter video. But just as a kind of, in case you haven't, I'm really happy with that glitter stick. I feel like the powder one that I used on the inside, all over it at first, that's kind of okay. But I don't know whether or not that's really worth it. Whereas the glittery stick one that I use is really nice. And I have got very minimal fallout, given that I put it underneath my eyes as well. Very minimal fallout. So it's more expensive than your average because obviously it's Bobbi Brown, but I am really happy with it. So go and check that video out, which hopefully I have managed to schedule correctly and is already live. Now it's the end of the day. I'm going to play some Sims. Anybody else still play Sims? Sims University. I've been treating myself to little nuggets of time to play Sims University. I never went to real university. Very much living vicariously through my Sims in this instance. And drink some Box Fizz. I love Box Fizz. I love it so much. And this is really the only time of year that it is socially acceptable to drink it. And so, cheers.
Well, I've got news for you. I know you're waiting. Vlogmas is right here. Hold on, it's time for it to reappear.